Thank you, everyone. We will now start this evening's JAAM with Rabbi Ariana Kaptauber. You're muted still.
Welcome to the 2020 Joint Annual Agency Meeting celebrating 5 Jewish agencies which enrich life in our community. The campus of the Jewish Home of Greater Harrisburg, Jewish Community Federation of Central Pennsylvania, Jewish Family Service of Greater Harrisburg, Jewish Federation of Greater Harrisburg, and the Silver Academy. I will start these festivities with a brief Devar Torah. My dear friend, who is a mother of 2 small children, said she sometimes looks around her house, sees all the chores to be done, messes to clean, children to feed and bathe, and she wonders, when does the mom show up? And then I remember, she says, I am the mom. These days, there is a lot of such work to be done in the Jewish community, and we might look around and wonder, when do the Jewish professionals show up? And then we realize we are the Jewish professionals. It is, as Rabbi Tarfon said in Pirkei Avot, the Ethics of Our Fathers, the day is short and the labor is plenty. The laborers are slothful while the reward is great, and the master of the house is pressing. It is not your duty to finish the work, but neither are you at liberty to neglect it. Lo alecha hamlacha ligmor, velo ata ben chorin lihivatel mimena. As the leaders of the Jewish community in Harrisburg, we do not have to finish all the work to be done, but we must at least begin it. In this current world of pandemic, there is so much unknown that we sometimes do not know how to begin. We might be afraid to move forward, to make a misstep, or we might be unsure of how to proceed when presented with a totally unfamiliar situation. We might wish there was a mom, or at least a Jewish professional around, to help make the decisions for us. Yet as we face this unknown, we must remember that we are not the first Jewish leaders to face an unknown future and come out thriving. Our ancestors, Avraham and Sarah, became the founders of our people when they sought out opportunity by journeying out into the unknown. In our Parsha this week, we read God's command to Avram. Lech lecha me'artzecha u'mimoladetcha u'mibeit avicha el haaretz asher areka. Go forth out of your native land, away from your family, away from everything you've known, out to the place that I will show you. The Jewish nation was born when God told Abraham to leave everything he knew behind and journey out into a new land. Only by leaving the world he knew behind, trusting God, and journeying courageously into new territory could Avram become Avraham, the father of many. Only by crossing over into the land of Israel could he create the Ivriim, the Hebrews, the people who cross over. That first crossing led to so many more. Generations later, the Israelites crossed over from Israel into the desert and then into the promised land. Millennia later, when the temple was destroyed, the rabbis crossed over into a new form of Judaism, the rabbinic Judaism that we practice today. Still later, Jews made crossings into diaspora, birthing the Jewish communities with beautiful and diverse customs all over the world. When we cross over into the unknown, we know that we are not the first to travel there, for many generations of Jews have already begun the journey for us. It was said that Avraham, too, in crossing over into the land of Israel, was only completing the journey that his father Terach had already begun. After all, at the end of last week's Parsha, it says that Terach set out with his family for the land of Canaan, of Canaan, from Ur Kasdim, but along the way they settled in Haran. Avram set out again for the unknown with his family, but he was only completing the journey that his father had already begun before him. Today, we face a world of unknown, which might make us feel afraid, but it can also be an opportunity to lay the foundations of Jewish life for tomorrow. Former First Lady Michelle Obama said that in taking on positions of leadership, it doesn't change who you are, it reveals who you are. When Avraham and Sarah went out into the unknown, the journey revealed them as the parents of a nation. What will the journey of 2020 and beyond reveal in us? This year, let us cross over from the world as it is into the world from the world as it is today into the world as it will be tomorrow. Let us take courage, knowing that as we cross into this unknown, that we have the potential to receive blessing and to become a great nation, or at least a greater Harrisburg Jewish community. I will now commence the board installations and discharges. The bylaws of the Jewish Home of Greater Harrisburg require 25 members to be present for the affirmation vote. Membership is defined as members of the United Jewish Community of Greater Harrisburg, or current year financial contributors to the campus. Having the required quorum participating in the JAAM, the campus of the Jewish Home of Greater Harrisburg presents the following slate of officers and directors to the community for affirmation. Eligible attendees should now cast your vote by poll. Thank you. Having the required quorum participating in the JAAM, the campus of the Jewish Home of Greater Harrisburg presents the following slate of officers and directors to the community for affirmation. Gerald Morrison Esquire has completed 2 terms on the campus board of directors and thus has termed out. We thank Jerry for his service. The Jewish Community Foundation does not require a vote, but their current members are listed on the slide and in the October 22nd edition of the Community Review. Jewish Family Service of Greater Harrisburg does not require a vote, but their current members are listed on the slide and in the October 22nd edition of the Community Review. The Jewish Federation of Greater Harrisburg does not have any new members requiring election, but their current members are listed on the slide and in the October 22nd edition of Community Review. The Silver Academy does not require a vote, but their current members are listed on the slide and in the October 22nd edition of the Community Review. We now acknowledge on the following slides staff of all the agencies with tenures in 5-year increments. We are thankful for their work and for the work of all our staff, particularly during this challenging time. Our agencies also thank their retiring staff for their service. Please watch the screen for the names of the staff being recognized this evening. At this time, Richard Spiegelman, board president of the campus of the Jewish Home, will say a few words.
Thank you, Rabbi, and welcome to the community, and thank you for your most inspiring words and hopeful words for the future. It's my pleasure and really my privilege tonight to introduce and to commend Alan Geckel, who is our stalwart CEO at the Jewish Home, and who will shortly be giving a full-blown accounting of the state of the home. I'll just say a few words up front. Obviously, this has been a year of unprecedented challenges at the home for residents and families who've had to endure the heartache and the distress of prolonged physical separation from one another. For our brave and compassionate frontline staff, nurses and caregivers who have stepped up to the challenge of keeping our residents safe and who have been nothing short of heroic, to the entire management team at the home who've functioned flawlessly. And through all of this, I want to recognize Alan Geckel for his steady guiding hand in leading us through these challenges. He has been working tirelessly, he's been working smart, he's been working 24/7 for the last 9 months and has performed with flying colors, both with respect to keeping residents safe and also keeping residents, their families, staff, and the greater community accurately and fully informed about everything going on at the home and the changes day to day. So I want to, I think that the community owes a great debt of gratitude to the entire staff. I do want to single out Alan for his leadership, knowing that his modesty, and he will give much credit to the staff as well. And so with that, and then I also want to second what you said about Jerry Morrison who will be cycling off the board, who has been a great supporter of the home for many years. And we are hoping that after his year off being redshirted in accordance with the bylaws, that he will come back to us after this. So with that, I will hand the mic over to Alan, who will give people a fuller sense of the state of the home.
Well, I would like to start by thanking Richard and both past and present board members for their confidence and their support. Our industry sure has had its share of challenges, and over the years, our board has navigated those challenges with me, and it's been now nearly 20 years since I arrived at the campus. This year has been one like no other for all of the obvious reasons. The pandemic has created challenges for everyone in one way or another. As you all know, the long-term care industry has been affected tremendously. I am extremely proud of the campus's preparations for and response to the pandemic. We have had a team consisting of medical staff and members of administration meeting multiple times per week since March to prepare and then to adjust as new information is released. Both federal and state agencies have visited our campus and commended us for our policies, preparation, execution, and our transparency while we dealt with this. While we have had some positive cases among residents and staff on the campus, through the implementation of those policies and procedures we created, we were able to contain and eradicate the virus quickly. And we currently have no known or suspected cases on the campus. Similar to what Richard said, I would be remiss if I did not recognize our staff. Early in the pandemic, while the government prepared hospitals for the waves they expected of COVID positive patients, long-term care struggled to obtain the supplies we needed. Nursing, housekeeping, activities, and administration staff continued to come to work and provide the services needed by our residents. Staff have endured routine testing, with most of the staff now having been tested over a dozen times since the onset of the pandemic. Residents and families have been impacted tremendously. For nearly 8 months, they have endured separation, isolation, and changes in the way our services are provided. I want to thank them for their patience and support. I would like to remind everyone that the aggressive policies are for the protection of both residents and staff. These policies have been proven to be effective and are largely responsible for our success to date. Despite the pandemic, the campus has held its own financially. For the fiscal year that ended on June 30th, the skilled nursing facility had year-to-date occupancy of approximately 89% of capacity, compared to a budgeted occupancy of around 95%. The personal care home ended the year with an occupancy of 75% compared to a 90% budgeted occupancy. Despite the lower than expected occupancy numbers, and due in large part to our therapy services, revenue for the year still exceeded budget. Due to an extreme shortage of nursing staff in the area, our expenses also exceeded budget, mostly resulting from incentives paid to campus nursing staff and the necessary use of agency staff to provide care. 2/3 of our nursing home residents are on medical assistance, which substantially impacts our revenue stream. We also have several residents in the personal care home that have exhausted most or all of their financial resources and are receiving some sort of benevolent care. State compliance surveys for both buildings were outstanding this year. The recent nursing home survey was the best we have had in many years, and we continue to rank at or above state and national averages in most of the quality measures utilized by the Center for Medicare Services. Survey teams in both buildings on their exit conferences noted positive comments from the residents. None of these accomplishments are possible without great staff. Having had to initially postpone it due to COVID, we just held our annual Employee Appreciation Day a couple of weeks ago in October. The management team cooked and served lunch to staff on all 3 shifts. There were games, raffle prizes, and we recognized 2 outstanding longtime team members as our Employees of the Year. Lori Daniels, who you see in the black shirt, is a social worker in our skilled facility and handles care plans, family meetings, discharge plans, and grievances. She has been a valuable member of our team both before and during COVID. She uses her social service skills to comfort residents, families, and staff at times. Gisela Dietrich is an aide in our personal care home. If you have a family member who looked great on a FaceTime or Zoom call, it's likely due to Gisela's taking on the additional duty of beautician while we had the buildings in sort of a quarantine or isolation. She represents personal care staff who served as dietary aides, activity aides, housekeepers, and social workers during periods of the summer while the building was observing those isolation protocols. As difficult as it was to select just 2 individuals to honor this year, these are 2 outstanding examples of the incredible team we have on the campus. Strong leadership is important. So I would like to acknowledge the other members of our executive management team. Christina Carlval joined our staff 2 years ago and has brought an outstanding knowledge of regulations and so much enthusiasm for long-term care. She has helped navigate through some difficult challenges and is a primary reason for our successful survey that I spoke about a few minutes ago. I really feel fortunate to have her on our team. With Jerry Henschel's retirement, Jasmine Staton joined us in December. An LPN, her nursing background has served us well as she has covered numerous nursing shifts and has been a tremendous support to the staff. I don't think she ever quite envisioned the challenges she would face in her first full-time administrator position, but she has handled them very well. Mary Ann Hobart has been a valued member of our business office staff, and then recently, about 2 years ago, assumed the controller position. She continued to grow and learn in that position and handle a number of new challenges, and has just been such an important and valuable member of the team. These three individuals helped me to be able to sleep at night. Like many others in our industry, we face challenges every day. Due to COVID, we will have to rebuild census. I am confident that as hospitals continue to return to business as usual, our reputation for quality care and therapy outcomes will allow us to rebound. The personal care home will take a little bit longer to recover since inquiries continue to be slow, as families can more easily put off a decision to move to personal care. But I'm also confident that we will rebound as time passes. Government reimbursement continues to be a challenge within our industry. For years, Medicare and medical assistance payments have not kept pace with rising costs. And with the increasing costs of staffing, it will become more and more critical. Our team has managed to position us to improve our MA reimbursement rates, and they continue to work with therapy to maximize our Medicare reimbursement, and both have shown signs of increase. We were fortunate to receive several government stimulus payments to offset lost revenue and increased costs due to COVID. But even so, as donations have tailed off in recent years, this year was even more of a challenge due to the pandemic. Staffing will continue to be among our biggest challenges for both the campus and our industry. And we do participate on several state task forces to work to find ways to address the needs of long-term care staffing. It really is simply still the biggest issue that affects quality of care, survey results, resident satisfaction, and financial success. I'll close by saying thank you to two groups who have had a major impact on the campus. First, let me again thank the board for your ongoing support and encouragement, especially during the pandemic. Your cards and notes, along with your video messages to staff, and your generous gesture with gift cards really demonstrated to staff how much you recognize their challenges this year and value their efforts. And to this community, from cards and notes to crafts, to food donations, and ultimately to the great parade you organized in May, our staff has come to know how you as a community value our campus. I watched residents and staff come to tears during that spring parade, and it had a major impact on the morale of everyone who witnessed it. Thank you. I will now pass the presentation to Michael Doctorow and Maggie Grotzinger, who will speak on behalf of the Jewish Community Foundation of Central PA.
Are we still waiting?
It's your turn to go, Mike. We're ready to go.
Okay, I did not see the image come up. I'm sorry. Okay, so thank you, Alan, for your amazing job this year. On September 1st, 2020, it was my honor to become the chair of the Jewish Community Foundation of Central PA, and it was Maggie Grotzinger's honor to become the co-chair. I'll speak for her. Tonight, I have the honor of recognizing our immediate past chair, Josh Millman, with the chair's discretionary award from our Jewish Community Foundation. We've included a detailed recognition in the special JAAM version of the community review that you have received or will soon receive. There's so much to say about Josh, but I will just take a few minutes to mention the highlights. Josh Millman has been a long time and valued member of the foundation board, who served on many standing and ad hoc committees over the many years. I know personally, as do many of you, how Josh leads by example. Working beside him in leadership, it is clear that Josh is a man who gets involved up to his elbows, as is evidenced by how he has held leadership roles in a number of Jewish and other nonprofit agencies. Josh is a doer. He makes a plan. He finds the right people who are needed to implement the plan, and he gets busy getting things done. He's dedicated, determined, organized, and goal-oriented. Along with the foundation leadership, Josh accomplished much during 2 short years as chair of the foundation board. He led the charge and convened an ad hoc committee to update the foundation's governing documents, reviewed its vision, mission, goals, and structure. He vetted the concept of the steering committee to replace another more narrowly focused committee. Now the foundation's steering committee, comprised of community members, helps vet concepts that are then presented to the board to set the course within the purview of the foundation for how we will support the Central PA Jewish community. We are grateful to Josh for his outstanding leadership and many accomplishments, and that he has chosen to continue serving on the foundation board as chair of the nominating committee, a member of the steering committee, and on other committees. Thank you, Josh, for your many years of service to the Jewish community, for your diligence, determination, hours upon hours of service, guidance, wit, and passion, and for helping sustain a vibrant Jewish community for today and to secure Jewish community in our future. Before thanking those other individuals and organizations involved in the foundation who are responsible for its success, I wanted to take a few minutes to discuss who the foundation is. The purpose of the foundation is to honor the values of tzedakah and tikkun olam by creating permanent and temporary resources to the ever-changing challenges and needs of the Jewish community, primarily through education of individuals, families, and affiliates on the benefits and rewards of philanthropy and the facilitation of philanthropy through current and planned giving and endowments. Foundation grants and distributions are intended to be designated to serve primarily the needs of the local and global Jewish community. The foundation serves the philanthropic needs of the broader central Pennsylvania community. We have significant representation from the York Jewish community. We support Jewish cemeteries in what were Jewish communities in north central Pennsylvania. And we have worked with Lancaster, Lebanon, and Reading Jewish communities on legacy programs. Presently, the Jewish Foundation of Central Pennsylvania manages $25 million in assets in nearly 100 donor-advised funds established by folks like you and I, and another 300 restricted funds supporting specific Jewish organizations. It's remarkable that the foundation presently distributes over $2 million per year to Jewish causes and organizations, mostly right here in central Pennsylvania, $2 million a year. About 1/4 of these distributions are from donor-advised funds from folks like you and I. So thank you very much. As Maggie will report we anticipate significant legacy gifts to our Jewish community from the Life and Legacy program coordinated by the foundation. More about this later. The foundation and your donor-advised and endowed funds are essential to the Central Pennsylvania Jewish community and to each of the organizations participating in tonight's program. Thank you to our board. In addition to thanking Josh Millman, I also want to thank our board members, those who are new for saying yes. We hope your experience is rewarding and inspiring. And those who have agreed to continue, may your experiences continue to be rewarding to you and beneficial to your Jewish community. And those who have completed their terms, Allison Siegelman, Robin Schottner, Danny Fessler, and Rob Friedman. We're losing some very talented people from our board, but we will find a way to keep them involved. Thank you for your willingness to serve, including dedicating countless hours, offering your time and talents in the service of our Central PA Jewish community. And thank you to our incredible staff, Paulette, Michelle, and Rebecca. We couldn't do our jobs without you. Perhaps even more importantly, I want to thank our donors for supporting the Jewish community and the causes that are most important to them. Without our donors, who are dedicated to ensuring the future of the Jewish community in Central Pennsylvania and throughout the world, our future would not be secure. We have trusted the foundation to help you create a legacy, manage your legacy, and to ensure the future of your legacy. For this, your community is grateful. Through the foundation, you, our donors, lend your outstretched hand of hope to comfort to others. You improve Jewish lives, ensure that the doors of our synagogues, our spiritual homes are always open, and that our Jewish community centers are gathering places for all to enjoy now and in the future. Thanks to your determination and your willingness to volunteer your time, talent, and financial support, we are all able to enjoy our rich Jewish heritage and traditions in our vibrant Central Pennsylvania Jewish community. We are in awe of and inspired by your generosity and concern for our people. Now let me introduce Maggie Grotzinger, who is going to take a few minutes to discuss the Life and Legacy program.
Thanks, Mike. Good evening, everyone. It's really great to be here with all of you representing so many different parts of our community. And I'm really particularly grateful to be reporting on a key Jewish Community Foundation program that is most definitely impacting each and every one of our organizations. And that is, of course, the Life and Legacy program. If you are a Hizikamunah member, you certainly know my passion for life and legacy. And as the incoming vice chair of the foundation, one of my goals is to extend my own passion about legacy giving in all areas of our community, not only here in Harrisburg, but throughout the South Central Pennsylvania region as well. We are currently in year 5 of our Life and Legacy program, working in conjunction with and supported in part by the Grinspoon Foundation, and primarily through a significant financial commitment of over $1.2 million from our Jewish Community Foundation. We have been tremendously successful with 636 individuals in our community who have said yes to a legacy gift and signed a letter of intent. That's incredible. Using an average of $25,000 per legacy gift, which is actually a very conservative estimate, and actual numbers where we know the amounts, that translates into future gifts of more than $22 million in legacy gifts for our communities. We can only begin to imagine the impact of this kind of funding for our Jewish institutions. Our success has been based on the commitment of our wonderful foundation staff, as Mike mentioned, our volunteer legacy teams in each organization who have implemented the Life and Legacy program, and of course to all of you who have signed a letter of intent and made a commitment to the Jewish organizations that you care about. With Life and Legacy being a community-wide effort, our community as a whole will be stronger. It is stronger because we have worked together. Without a doubt, we stand strongest when we stand together. Our community has been truly blessed by the gifts given to us by those who came before us. After all, they gave us the gift of our Jewish community. An important mission of our foundation is to ensure that we continue to inspire community members like you to pay it forward by sustaining Jewish life now and for future generations. The foundation is here to serve as a vehicle for you to give Jewishly, to help heal the world, and to support funding of our Jewish institutions so that they in turn can accomplish their own missions. Our emphasis is and always must be on the fact that donors like you do it through us. So thank you for your support of the Jewish Community Foundation. And I'll now turn it back to Mike.
Thank you, Maggie. And I'm going to assume this is all working technologically. Permit me to speak for a few minutes on some of the exciting things that are going on at the foundation now, and that we have planned over the next 2 years. With 70 pockets of Jewish life, it's a lofty goal for our Jewish Community Foundation of Central Pennsylvania to ensure a vibrant Jewish community for today and to secure a Jewish future. But here's just a taste of what we've been doing now and have planned for the future. The foundation has undertaken to manage and is in the process of developing plans to ensure the future of 5 Jewish cemeteries in north central Pennsylvania, where communities are shrinking. We are making plans for how we might continue to help ensure the survival in even more Jewish cemeteries in the future. We are implementing strategies to identify and assess Jewish community needs, to connect donors like you to the needs that you find important, to ask you how you want to have an impact on the lives of our people and our future, and to develop plans for how together we will create and build financial resources that can address the needs of our people, whatever they may be, to ensure life with dignity for every Jew. We are working hard to expand the geographic scope of the foundation to communities like Lancaster, Lebanon, Pottsville, Hazleton, and State College. We saw needs during the COVID crisis, which is continuing today, so we acted. During the COVID crisis, the Foundation Steering Committee engaged in some planning, reviewed what we were learning our people needed, and came up with new or existing funds to respond to those emergent needs. And we are responding. Through the Emergent Needs Funds, 100% of your gifts during the COVID pandemic will be used to support people in the Jewish community who are in need of critical financial assistance. Through this fund, we have been providing fresh kosher food and grants to pay for food where the distance is too far, too many in our community. Free Loan Fund provides interest-free loans to families who have exhausted other resources of financial assistance. Recipients will not be obligated to repay the loan. They will be asked to pay it forward by making gifts to the Free Loan Fund when they're able, in an amount within their capacity to help replenish the fund so it can be there for others who need it. A family was struggling due to lost health insurance and immediate prescription costs. A family needed repairs to their car, leaving the family unable to get to work, and more. Never Again Holocaust Education Fund. Your gift will support Holocaust education and curriculum resources for teachers and other initiatives to teach lessons of the Holocaust to help prevent anti-Semitism, bigotry, and hate behaviors. We are working in collaboration with Penn State to present this program that was developed and is supported by the PA State Department of Education. The Legacy Program Fund. Your gift will keep our community-wide legacy program on track to build critical financial resources to provide support for our Jewish community. Legacy gifts are giving us hope that we will sustain our Jewish future. Many gifts have already been received and are benefiting our people now. We can say yes to a legacy gift, even if we cannot say yes to cash gifts. The Philanthropic Fund. Our beloved synagogues and Jewish agencies are keeping us connected through creative virtual community programs. Even without face-to-face events, they have financial needs. We are providing grants to help with new, unanticipated technology needs that will ensure our synagogues, seniors, and youth stay connected, such as audio equipment to assure isolated seniors with hearing challenges can talk to their families. These extraordinary times are trying for all of us, and even more so for our people facing enormous hardships. Many of you, our donors, have stepped up and made gifts in amounts meaningful to you to help the critical needs of struggling families during this crisis. Your gifts have given our people a reason to hope. It's not too late to make a contribution to one of these special emergency funds. Unfortunately, our community's COVID needs are continuing to grow. So tonight we come together as a community, and to me, that is what's so critically important about the work of the foundation, how it focuses on the needs of the entire Jewish community, our agencies, synagogues, and our people in central Pennsylvania. We all want to do what is meaningful to us. Donors want to feel their gifts are having an impact, that they are helping people in ways that are meaningful and important to them. And that is what our Jewish Community Foundation does. It assesses the needs of our people and connects interested donors, and many of you are donors, to those needs. So what can you do? Historically, Jews have pulled together to offer aid to our Jewish friends, neighbors, and community. Please consider a contribution to one of the 5 foundation-sponsored funds to help meet emergent COVID needs. Or choose another foundation fund where you can have an impact in ways you care about, or create a fund of your own to help people that you know or causes that are meaningful to you. Please contact Paulette Kiefer, the Executive Director of the Foundation, for more details about how you might help our community during this COVID pandemic or in the future through these or other designated gift opportunities. These are trying times for you, for all of us, for our Jewish community agencies and synagogues, and for the Jewish Community Foundation. It is during times like this that we have the opportunity to reflect on past planning and make course corrections that will lead us into the future. We will learn lessons now from what we are and are not able to do to respond to the needs of our people and our Jewish community. We will develop strategies and put into place mechanisms now to assure sustainability of Jewish life and overall community viability. It is with humility and a great source of pride that leaders of the foundation acknowledge we have this opportunity to relieve some current suffering. Thank you for joining us on this journey to support our Jewish friends, neighbors, and community when our help is needed most. We appreciate your willingness to go above and beyond to support the efforts of the foundation to provide life with dignity for every Jew during these challenging times and to ensure the future of our Jewish community. Thank you for being part of our Jewish Community Foundation. And now I am going to turn the program over to Bob Wolf, Board President, to speak on behalf of JFS in Harrisburg.
Thank you, Michael. I would just like to echo real quickly Michael's comments and Rabbi Kaptauer's comments about how we are a community and we are stronger as a community, and we are stronger when we work together as a community. It is no accident that JFS's presentation follows the Community Foundation. We have been working with the Community Foundation to help implement some of its newer COVID-related programs where the foundation has been tireless and wonderful in terms of raising money to fund these new programs. And JFS has been helping in terms of the administration and distribution of the funds. It's just an example of how we are stronger when we work together. Our presentation on JFS will be both prospective and retrospective. I will handle the year in review. I'm not going to recite the slide in front of you. You can read that for yourselves. But first, let me assure you that JFS has weathered the storm brought about by the coronavirus pandemic. Our doors remain open, albeit virtually. Our services continue to be provided, albeit virtually. But most importantly, our commitment to the community remains intact and stronger than ever. We started last year in a time of transition with our past president, Marty Rogoff, retiring from JFS to take a leadership position with Federation, and for myself taking on the position of board president. My short-term goals were to accomplish this transition smoothly, build upon our past successes, and ensure that JFS could meet the challenges of the future. Little did I know what the future held for us. Just as we were basking in the glow of the success of our annual fundraising event with Mitch Albom, the first wave of the pandemic struck. I worked closely with our then executive director, Barry Stein, to transition JFS to a virtual environment to comply with the social distancing requirements and preserve the continuation of our services. And then the unthinkable happened. Barry was felled by the virus and hospitalized. While this could have been a death blow to JFS's operations, we proved our resiliency and rose to the challenge. With the help of our current board members, our past president, our dedicated staff, and our generous donors, and a little help from myself, we stabilized our operations, secured federal aid, preserved our revenue streams, and most importantly, kept everyone safe. Barry's illness proved more serious than we could have imagined, and while we kept his chair open for his return, it became clear during the beginning of the summer that his recovery would be more arduous, time-consuming, and require more of his attentions and energies. Facing this reality, we were left with no choice but to find a new executive director, and I am pleased to report that we have found a great one. Stephen Schauder comes to us from Florida. While he's been working with us and JFS since September, he just moved to the Harrisburg area within the past 2 weeks. Jen, I think you need to go back a slide or two. Stephen has deep roots in Judaism and a long history with Jewish organizations, nonprofits, and service-related agencies. His experience includes managing a federation in Durham, Chapel Hill, supervising and growing JFS operations there, running a JCC in Florida, and providing social services to low-income populations. He has a master's degree in social work with a focus on administration, and he brings energy, enthusiasm, and commitment to his new position. So I'm going to step back for a few moments and let Stephen tell you about his vision and plans for the near-term future of JFS. Stephen, the platform is yours.
Thank you so much, Bob. And it's an honor to join both JFS and this incredibly vibrant community. Our greatest challenge today is to meet the unmet mental health crisis facing our community and our country. An annual report of Mental Health America shows that nationwide, 47 million people, or 19% of the total population in the United States, are living with a mental health condition. And that's a 1.5 million person increase over last year. And since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic in March, which has deeply affected JFS, there's been an 875% increase in the number of people reporting signs of depression and anxiety. Last year, JFS helped 355 clients through our counseling program, with 168 new clients being helped. Yet, we currently have 51 community members on a wait list for therapy, including many children and adolescents. So as we look ahead, Our guiding commitment is a commitment to excellence. We want to provide the highest quality programs and services to meet our mission of helping individuals and families meet life's challenges. And in meeting our commitment to excellence, we make a commitment to stability, both operationally and fiscally. A commitment to improve the visibility of JFS. We want the challenge of more people coming to us for our programs and services. A commitment to better meet the needs of the community, both those needs we're aware of and unmet needs. And I'll end with a wish that there be people lined up outside the door, both in person and virtually, to serve on committees and the board who say, I want to help. I want to end by thanking our board who stepped up and have given countless hours to support JFS during the pandemic. Thank you to our donors who sustain us every day. And thank you to the incredible staff of JFS who come to work every day with a strong desire to make our community and the world a better place. Bob?
Thank you, Stephen. As you can see, he's a great guy. My presentation covering the past year would not be complete without saying a few things more about Barry Stein, our recently retired executive director. Like Stephen, Barry is a transplant to Harrisburg, having come to our community when he moved to take on leadership of JFS. Over his years with JFS, Barry's leadership benefited the agency in so many ways. Barry, in his wisdom, understood that the more money in JFS's coffers, the more services we can provide. He expanded our donor base, solidified the connections with our longtime supporters, and on more occasions than I can recount, came up with funds just in time, which were needed to do God's work in repairing the world. He brought in quality people to staff JFS and encouraged them to grow in their positions and be not just an employee of JFS, but a committed member of our team. He supported our board of directors and was always available as a reliable source of information about JFS and its operations. Barry is a strategic thinker and brought his vision to JFS to maintain its relevancy as a social services provider. Harrisburg is fortunate to have him as a continuing resource for the challenging times ahead of us. We are currently working on plans to honor Barry in a more formal way, so keep an eye out for those announcements. And now I have the distinct honor to turn the platform over to the chair of the board of directors for the Jewish Federation, a real treasure in our community, Abby Smith.
Thank you, Bob. And thank you everyone for joining us this evening. I'm looking forward to sharing some things from our past year and where we currently stand and some looks ahead. So to start with some numbers, we have an increase in our PJ Library subscribers. We have over 660 member units. And this year we met our campaign goal with 885 donors contributing over $950,000. And we have over 2,000 households that receive our community review. But this year, obviously, the pandemic has been a huge theme, but I think there's many things that we can highlight that is a real testament to our staff stepping up to the plate at every single level. In the spring, when the pandemic first hit and into the summer, we focused on retaining nearly all our staff. We did receive our payroll protection program loan, and we also were able to put together, with the help of Norman Grass and many others, a summer food program, which served 60 to 80 children weekly. We've been operating we operated a summer break at the J program in lieu of our traditional camp program for 51 school-aged children. And we also put together a medical advisory team. We have so many programs that are happening in our building. We wanted to make sure that as we considered how we reopen, that we do so safely and with medical guidance. And so heading into the fall, what's been pretty amazing is we've reopened nearly all of our programs safely and in person. We still maintain many virtual program options, but we have everything from swim and Tai Chi and Zumba and yoga and racquetball and our fitness center and aftercare, our early learning center, and other things going on in the building. There are some programs such as trips that the senior club would take, and others that we still have to determine how we're going to handle. But it's been pretty remarkable to see us transition to reopening things in our building. And our early learning center has doubled in size since reopening in June and continues to grow. We are also continuing to offer the food program regardless of need. One of the things that you might not know is where those dollars go that come into our organization. A significant portion of our funds go toward our programs, everything from camp to our early learning center, sports and fitness, senior programming, social and educational programs, and we really do keep those overhead expenses quite minimal. And our dollars come from about 60% of them from program fees, from tuition, from dues, and the other 40% are donations, grants, and our annual campaign. As we look ahead into this next year, we're focused on providing safe programming to all of our members, both in the building and virtually. And we are very much grounding that decision-making in science and our organizational values, and also with a focus on supporting the emotional well-being of our community members. We know that many of you are have a variety of needs, and we want to serve your needs to connect with one another in the community. We also have a very close eye on our financial stability. Obviously, these are trying times for organizations and companies all over the world, and our organization is no different. And so as a result, we're focused on not just our annual campaign, but also on acquiring additional grants, diversifying our revenue sources, and growing the number of dollars that we receive from the EITC program, which if you are interested, you can contact anybody at the Federation. They will know where to direct your inquiry. But that is a program that both companies as well as individuals can participate in to direct the tax dollars that you would otherwise pay to the state to our Early Learning Center, as well as to the Silver Academy. And finally, we are looking to deepen engagement through our committees and broadening our leadership pipeline. If you are on this call and you would like to be more engaged with what we do at the JCC and the Jewish Federation, we are eager to have additional participants across different committees in lots of different areas of the ways in which we work, everything from our finance committees to our JCC committee to our CRC that supports our engagement with Israel. I want to close by again thanking our staff and giving a tremendous amount of credit to all of the staff at every single level. It has been a whirlwind. And I'm sure that all of the organizations feel similarly on this call, but I've had the unique pleasure of seeing the JCC and Federation staff in action as we've transitioned from working virtually to being back in person and providing safe programming, both in person and on the computer. And it's been quite remarkable to see what everybody has been able to pull off. So with that, I will turn this over to Jen Ross to present this year's awards from the Federation and the JCC.
Thank you, Abby. It is now my pleasure and honor to recognize our 3 award winners. You can read more about their amazing accomplishments in the current edition of Community Review. Our first honoree is Alice Spector, who has received the prestigious Albert Hirsch Leadership Award. This award is presented to a community leader in recognition of a lifetime of leadership, at least 20 years of service to our Jewish community. Alice has served our Jewish and secular community for over 70 years, including her presidency of the Women's Division at the Federation, Bethel Temple Sisterhood, Harrisburg Bridge Club, and the Mental Health Association of Pennsylvania. Her legacy is particularly strong through her founding of the Kidney Foundation of Central PA and her strong involvement with Israel Bonds. It is particularly appropriate that Alice has received this award because it was Al Hirsch who initially compelled Alice to serve our community, as Alice describes in the first minute of this video that I will play. Mazel tov, Alice.
Harrisburg my entire life. And Mort also was a friend of Albert Hirsch. So Mort received the Albert Hirsch Award several years ago, and I'm delighted they chose me to receive it now. We've been very active in the community, and I'll speak for myself. If I had it to do over again, I would do the same thing over again. I would be in all these community activities that support the institutions, the Jewish and secular institutions of Harrisburg. So thank you very much for giving me this award.
Thank you again, Alice. Our second honoree is Scott Rubin, recipient of the David Javich Young Leadership Award. His outstanding work as treasurer for the Silver Academy and his role raising EITC funds for Silver Academy and the Brenner Family Early Learning Center stood out for the past award winners who nominated him, and Scott's role as an amazing ambassador for our community was also recognized. Scott hopes his example will encourage more community members to get involved in creating a better Jewish Harrisburg. Thank you, Scott, for doing this work and being an inspiration to others. Our final award is for Morris Kaplan as our JCC Volunteer of the Year. Morris has been a member since 2005, and he provided remarkable volunteer support when we launched the Rock Steady Boxing program in 2019. Morris is featured on the left in this photo. Morris brought his experience as a Navy veteran who coached tennis in the past to motivate and encourage participants. His fervor did not lessen when we converted the program from in-person sessions to virtual. Morris, we thank you for your service to our country and to our JCC. Congratulations again to all of our awardees and everyone else being celebrated tonight. At this time, Emily Halper will say a few words about the Silver Academy.
Good evening, everyone. To those who spoke before me, thank you for everything that you have done to help keep the engine of the Jewish community running during this past year. I would like to start first with some thank yous. First to Samara Sofian for her leadership, just in general and specifically this past year. To our staff and our faculty, thank you for your resilience and your hard work. I would also like to quickly thank Joel Burkhat. Joel has provided guidance and leadership as general counsel for the Silver Academy for over 20 years. We are grateful for his time, which was always gladly given. Joel has stepped down as general counsel, and as Scott has said at meetings before, Joel probably has enough stories to fill a book. We would like to thank Greg Freeburn for stepping in as general counsel. I will go briefly to our slides. Samara Sofian became full-time head of school halfway through last school year, and we continue to have EITC as the success factor in our annual budget, along with an increased focus on diversifying revenue. We have a year-over-year increase in both grant applications and awards. We kicked off a Better Together program with the Jewish Home of Greater Harrisburg, and our staff did an incredible job pivoting to remote learning in March. Because of early preparations, we left in-school learning on that Friday, the 13th, when everything else seemed to come to a standstill, and began full days of remote learning the following Monday. They did not miss a beat. Our students benefited greatly by the hard work of our staff in accomplishing that. We, for this year, have, after spending the summer looking at the guidelines and what the State Department of Education is recommending, we assembled a medical task force to create guidelines to safely reopen. And we're very proud of the fact that we are able to be full-time in-person learning. Our students are masked and distanced all throughout the day. They do, luckily, the weather has been nice. They've been able to enjoy some mask-free time outside, playing kind of separate games and that kind of thing. But for the most part, it has just gone so well. And it's really our staff that just continue to be just incredible. We welcomed 13 new families and 19 new students for this school year. So it's just wonderful. We have such a vibrant school year this year. And then we also were able to allow for full-time remote learning for anyone who needs to just stay home. So if parents weren't comfortable coming back for in-person, they have a remote option. If anyone is feeling a little sniffly, they are encouraged to learn remotely as well. So those are some of the things that we've been up to. I also want to thank our board members who have completed their term of service since last year, and that is Dan Green, David Borowski, and Steve Wassner. And also thank you to Norman Grass, who is stepping back a little bit in his role on the board, but will continue to remain involved. Go ahead, Jen, we can go on to the next slide. For this year, our Teacher of the Year is Mrs. Kate Carpenter. The Silver Academy is proud to recognize Kate Carpenter as our Teacher of the Year. At the conclusion of last school year, Mrs. Carpenter retired after 23 years of teaching at the Silver Academy. Her career began in 1997, where she brought her peace-based curriculum focused on teaching through movement, music, and dance. She also served as the mother duck in her class, fiercely protective of her ducklings and their well-being. Her classes would begin the process of kid writing in the fall, and by spring, they were writing extensive stories about the imaginary land of Imagica. As a grateful recipient of her education for my children, I can attest to her wonderful impact on her students. Mrs. Carpenter stands for justice, peace, love, and equality. Her impact on her students has been felt in the Harrisburg Jewish community for the last 23 years. Thank you, Mrs. Carpenter. You will be missed. We would also like to recognize a Parent Volunteer of the Year, Eureka Goldman. The Silver Academy is so happy to recognize Eureka Goldman as our Parent Volunteer of the Year. She takes on any task with determination and grace. She enthusiastically answers the call when volunteer opportunities arise and is eager to help wherever she can. Last year, Eureka envisioned, coordinated, and executed the Silver Academy Lock-Up fundraiser, Delicious, which was a huge success and enjoyed by many in the community. Thank you, Eureka. And then finally, if a picture is worth 1,000 words, then a video is worth 1,000 slides. So please enjoy our video update.
Sorry.
A study that shows that students that live in small communities become leaders at a higher proportion than the general population And it's because we have roles for them, for practically any students who want to take a role in leadership, whether it's the student organization, student council, or be involved in other school activities. Everybody really gets to maximize their potential in not only learning facts and learning ideas and developing their minds, but also in getting the confidence and the skills to be able to accomplish things out in society.
So the well-rounded educational experience, along with the second language, I believe is super important for helping young kids grow intellectually, is by giving them a second language, whatever that may be.
Yeah, we have to stay 6 feet, and some kids are learning virtually, but it's a good system because everybody, if they need to learn virtually, or if they're in school, we're all getting the education we need.
Do you have a lot of friends here at the Silver Academy?
Mm-hmm. And I made friends very quickly when I came to kindergarten.
What I really see, and I think it is an amazing thing, is the sense of community. I don't think when you're in larger schools you maybe have that. And if you do, it's not at the extent that it is at the Silver Academy. There's a commitment to working with one another, caring for one another. And I think that's something that is probably the biggest thing that I see as a benefit to attending and to working at the Silver Academy.
Yeah, I feel the curriculum is really good. We teach a lot of important stuff. And it's just easy to make friends and be part of the group. Nobody will leave you out or anything.
Being the head of school at the Silver Academy is truly a privilege. Our students truly care for one another. Our teachers really care about each other and each student. And our parents really partner with us in the education of their children. Our students really celebrate each other. If somebody gets something that they've been struggling with, there's a moment to pause and celebrate that achievement. If somebody's struggling with something, they're given the guidance and the helping hand or the assistance that they need, both from their teachers and from the students.
And this is my favorite school. I love it. I'm never going anywhere because I'm gonna keep this school in my heart.
Thanks everyone for attending the JAAM. It's an honor serving you. And thanks for all my co-hosts too. Good night.